Hello everyone, thank you very much for joining me. I want to talk about social media, and with me joined are some two colleagues who are going to introduce themselves.
How are you all? I'm Mary, a teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Prudence Murambo. I'm also a teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I want to talk about the advantages or benefits associated with social media and its use in education, and therefore I want to ask Mary, for example, to introduce to us some of the benefits that we can gain by using social media. Mary, in 1 minute's time.
Social media comes in many forms, and we have various platforms on social media that we have seen being used as platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, we have TikTok these days, Instagram, Twitter, and the rest. And these have shown some useful ways that we can use them in the education sector. For example, we have educational videos that people post. We have teachers who are giving materials through these platforms. We have revision materials that students can access. We also have even live sessions where classes are handled online, and materials can also be sent even using WhatsApp for students to use.
Thank you, Mary. Now, Prudence, do you have something that you can tell us about the disadvantage of social media?
Thank you so much. Well, there are different fears, or there are many fears that are associated with the social media. One of them being the balancing of the screen time. You realize that many of the students would want to be more on the screen all the time, to an extent that they cannot balance it with other activities, maybe like games and sports and so forth.
Binging on our favorite shows during lockdowns, we're all watching screens a lot more. But what is all of this screen time doing to our brains? And could the impacts be long-lasting, especially for kids? ABC's Rena Roy reports.
These days, screen time seems to be all the time. Non-stop stimulation in an infinite virtual playground.
What's up? Hey, how you doing, man?
Everything has been kind of transformed to this 2D world. Our brains on screens, it's an addiction.
The most susceptible among us, kids. 11-year-old Ayan Mukherjee got his first computer when he began remote learning last spring. Let's just start from the beginning. Let's go back to April 2020 when virtual learning began. You got your very first laptop. What was that like?
I mean, it was very exciting because I usually had to share devices with people in my family.
But he says in just a matter of days, things were getting out of hand.
I started with a couple of videos, then I started watching more and more. I watched every free moment I had, and day and night.
And it turns out our brains are wired to keep watching. Binging activates the reward center found in the midbrain, where dopamine is released and sent to our nucleus accumbens in the basal ganglia. It taps into the more survival and pleasure-based centers of the brain, driving us to watch that next episode or just one more video from a creator we love on YouTube. The prefrontal cortex of the brain, more recently evolved in humans, is more rational and works to weigh the consequences of certain decisions like binging. It might step in to tell the brain that you need sleep, so you should probably turn that video off. It's a constant battle between immediate pleasure and self-control, making us pretty exhausted. Dr. Heather Berlin, a neuroscientist and clinical psychologist, says it's taking a toll, particularly on kids.
Studies show that with children, the longer amount of time they spend on screens, the worse their social and emotional development.
Then again, you realize that if this is not handled so well, it can be so destructive in class. You realize that the students can decide to go into other areas other than the ones that the teacher has decided. So the teacher has to be careful so that this one does not happen. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Now, in one word, probably, you can share with us how this one can be improved for the future use of social media. correctly in education?
Well, I can say that when it comes to the issue of the balancing of the screen time, then the teachers have to find some other ways of coming up with the engaging the student other than just being on the screen all the time.
Mary, one word, how can we increase the use of social media in the class platform?
First of all, we should encourage teachers to embrace social media because we can reach as many people as possible.
Okay, thank you very much for joining me, the two colleagues that have aired their views, and therefore at this moment I want to thank you. We embrace social media for education success.